being easy to love can turn into a way of disappearing in plain sight. At dinner, you say you do not care where to go. In a group chat, you answer fast enough to keep the mood light. In a relationship, you learn the small moves that stop tension before it starts. People relax around you. That sounds like a good thing until you notice how little of you ever has to enter the room. You are not empty. You are edited. A want shows up and you trim it down before it becomes inconvenient. A complaint starts to rise and you flatten it into "it's fine." A real preference appears and you hand it over before anyone has to adjust to it. The room stays easy. You stay useful. And somewhere in that exchange, your life gets quieter than it should. The strange part is how quickly your own shape begins to feel optional. Nobody asked you to vanish, but being manageable got rewarded so often that it started to feel like belonging. And once that starts, how do you notice what you have been leaving out of yourself every single day? What wears you down is not being loved. It is being loved for the parts of you that do not ask for anything. People call that being mature, being calm, low maintenance. They like how easy you are to talk to, how you never make things heavy, how you always understand. But that version of you is built on constant self-trimming. You hear your own need, and you translate it into something softer before it reaches your mouth. You feel the edge of frustration, and you smooth it out so no one has to deal with it. You want to be close, but only in a way that does not interrupt anyone else. One part of you enters the moment. The other part stands behind it, watching, editing, deciding what is too much, what is too soon, what might make someone pull back. It is not fake in the simple sense. It is more tiring than that. It is a life spent pre-adjusting before there is even a visible problem. That is why being easy to love can still feel lonely, because the people around you are responding to the version you can keep running, not the version that would need care, or patience, or a little inconvenience. And if your presence only works when it does not press against anyone, where does the real you actually go? The loneliest part is how often you leave yourself out of the conversation before anyone else can. You start to say what you actually want and the sentence changes halfway through. You notice your tone getting sharper, and you soften it before it lands. You feel yourself getting tired of being the one who adjusts, but even that thought gets rewritten into something more acceptable. By the time you speak, the rough part is gone. The true edge of it never makes it to the surface. Then later, you replay the moment and realize you were there, but not fully. You remember the first version of the sentence, the one that would have sounded more honest. You remember the pause where you edited yourself. You remember the tiny turn where you made it easier for everyone else. And because no one saw the part you cut out, they assume nothing was missing. That is the trick. The room stays smooth, so the cost stays invisible. You do not just lose the argument or the request. You lose the small proof that you were allowed to exist without making yourself smaller first. After enough of those moments, your life starts to feel like a series of almost honest, almost upset, almost needy, almost real. And the more often you edit yourself to stay lovable, the harder it gets to tell what a full version of you would even sound like. Nobody teaches you this in one clean sentence. Comes in little rewards. The smile that makes things easier. The silence that keeps someone close. The quick apology that prevents a weird pause. The habit of staying pleasant so no one has to deal with your harder parts. Over time, that stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like the cost of being around people. So you learn to be stable on the outside and unclaimed on the inside. You become the person who does not ask for too much, does not turn the room complicated, does not need much back. And from the outside, that can look like strength. From the inside, it can feel like a slow starvation that nobody notices because you are still functioning. That is the cruel part of being easy to love. It can protect you from rejection while also keeping you from being known. It lets people stay close to the version they like, while the parts of you that need witnessing stay off stage. You become easy to hold and hard to meet. So maybe the real question is not why people do not see you. Maybe it is what had to be trimmed away for you to become someone they could love so easily in the first place.